Welcome to another exciting episode of Nerds from Nowhere. Blah. That's as scary as I can be.
Blah.
Blah, blah, blah. I'm your nerd host, Joe, and I'm scary.
And I'm your nerd host, Devin. Blah.
Also scary.
Also, obviously scary. I said blah.
Well, yeah, but
'Cause-
you have to explain it to some people because they don't know how scared they're supposed to be.
Oh, I'm super scary.
Blah.
Blah. I play with blood. Legitimately.
True.
It's frightening.
Oh man, that reminds me of a story my coworker told me today. I can't remember where it was, but it was in the news. They caught an 11 and a 12-year-old girl. They were ditching class. They had a butcher knife and a carving knife, and they were waiting in the bathroom for younger students to come in so they could kill them. Oh, and they had a goblet. They were going to fill the goblet with the blood, drink the blood, and then go home and commit suicide in the name of Satan.
Why is this even news? That's completely normal.
You're like, it sounds like middle school to me.
Yeah, I remember doing that all the time. Yeah, speaking of weird news stories, I saw on Twitter, and all of this is just weird to me because somebody reposted it, but it was Wilford Brimley who posted it, and I was like, wait, he's still alive? And he has a Twitter? Like, I don't know. Am I the only one that was surprised by this? That in and of itself blew my mind. But he'd posted this thing about how a scientist working in one of those outposts in Antarctica had gone crazy and stabbed another scientist. And anyway, and he made this joke about how The Thing, the movie The Thing, was actually happening. And I was like, that's really kind of funny, but why am I hearing about this from Wilford Brimley?
You're like, I'm only used to hearing about diabetes supplies.
Right. And even then, it was like 20 years ago, so I assumed he died.
Hey, however he's managing his diabetes, he must be doing a good job.
Right? Yeah. He's doing great. Anyway, that was my random story that, for some odd reason, girls murdering other people and drinking their blood reminded me of it. And
Come on.
there's the spooky noise for the day.
The spooky dog barking at my cat. You're gonna hear my dog get murdered this episode. That'll be spooky.
That sounds really spooky.
Yeah.
I might do the same.
I'm not gonna drink his blood though.
Oh, you've really lost all credibility.
I mean, I might drink my cat's blood, but not all of it. I like my cat.
Huh.
Just a little.
Plus, cat's blood isn't as good. In my experience.
It's not very filling. You know, you'll have some and you'll feel full, but like half an hour later, you're hungry again.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. Yeah, speaking of filling full and stuff, yesterday, this is a completely random story. I hope you don't mind random stories. But I've been doing this like keto diet, and where you don't eat very many carbs. Yesterday I woke up and I drank one of these like shake things, and then I just didn't like eat like at all. And I made like a pot roast, and I kept saying like I'll eat later in the day, and then like it had been hours and hours, and I was hungry, but I just kept kind of ignoring it because it's like, yeah, my pot roast will be done sometime, and I'm all good. And then I was just like sitting there, and like the room started spinning. Like I thought I was going to pass out. I was like, oh, that's bad.
You need to eat.
Yeah. Well, I'm aware I need to eat. I just didn't recognize it had gotten to that point
Yeah.
until it had gotten to that point, and I almost died. Okay, I didn't almost die, but it was not fun.
Well, I'm glad you didn't die.
You're just saying that.
What if you did die and now you're a ghost zombie?
A ghost zombie.
Yeah.
Wouldn't I have had to have been a zombie first to be a ghost
No,
zombie?
I mean, the only qualification to be both a zombie and a ghost is that you die.
Oh.
So, I think once you die, you could be anything. You could be a zombie, you could be a ghost, you could be a vampire, you could be a Frankenstein. Anything.
Frankenstein's monster. I'm pretty sure to be Frankenstein, you'd have to be Frankenstein.
No. See, a lot of people are mistaken on that. It's actually just being a Frankenstein.
Oh.
It's not. There's no monster. It's just you're a Frankenstein.
Oh, okay. I was very mistaken on
Yeah,
that.
yeah. People like to correct people and be like, "No, it's Frankenstein's monster." No, I mean, sure, a Frankenstein made a monster that was a Frankenstein. So,
Right. That makes no sense. I love it.
yeah, no, it's fine. It makes sense. It
No.
it does if I say it does.
Yeah. It makes perfect sense.
We're gonna have the best monsters. You won't even believe how good our monsters are.
Oh. Well, speaking of monsters, should we talk about our
He's for those of you who aren't watching the live stream, you didn't get to see my Donald Trump impression. It's only the face. Was pretty good.
It was excellent. That was perfect. Oh my gosh.
Oh, so you're trying to get us on topic here.
I was trying to, but man, I lost it there. Oh, so, but let's talk about not necessarily monsters, but Halloween movies and TV shows,
Okay.
spooky stuff that I'm not very good with because I'm a terrified little girl on the inside,
That's-
not quite on the outside.
That's okay. We're all we all have little girls inside us.
Phrasing. um, this episode is going to need to be edited horribly, but
That's fine. We walk that line.
yeah, we do. So, but yeah, so I don't watch a lot of scary stuff, but every now and then I watch moderately scary stuff.
Yeah.
Moderately.
Oh, so what was the last moderately scary movie you watched?
So I think the last one that I watched was A Quiet Place with the
Jim from The Office.
Jim from The Office. I was trying to think of his actual name.
John Krasinski.
John Krasinski. Thank you. I could remember Krasinski, oddly enough, but I couldn't think of his first name.
You're like, what is that name? It's something real exotic, real weird, real foreign.
I actually, all I could think of was Jim. So I was thinking Jim Krasinski.
I'm sure he would be fine being called that.
And then his actual wife, Emily Blunt. I think it's kind of cool that they're married. But
Yeah.
I thought that was a really good movie. Especially considering there's not a lot of talking in it.
Yeah, it really creates a really unique environment for the movie.
Yeah. And it's heartfelt and intense. I don't know if it's necessarily like a scary movie, but it's intense.
Yeah.
Which is what I like more out of my Scary movies.
Yeah,
I think
I think A Quiet Place was really good. I wanted to see them shotgun a few more of them, but the ending was still, it was satisfying still, I think.
yeah, it gives you that um yeah, satisfying feeling
Yeah.
of we win.
My problem with a lot of scary movies is they have terrible endings, and I cannot abide that in my life.
Yeah, they really do. What was that one that I really loved up until the ending? And part of me kind of liked the ending because it's so terribly heartbreaking, but at the same time, it was just so awful. The Mist, Stephen King's The Mist, the movie.
Is that, spoiler alert, is that the one where where he kills his whole family and then the military show up like 10 seconds later?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, I don't want that in my life. I can't handle that.
Yeah, the movie was so good up until then, and I don't know if that's how the book ends or not. I haven't actually read Stephen King's The Mist.
I can't read.
Neither can I. So, oh yeah, but speaking of Stephen King, I did see It,
Ooh, the new one?
the new one, which I was really surprised that I actually went and saw that because I didn't think that I would, and I really liked that movie. I don't know if you've seen that.
I haven't seen the new one. I thought the old one I think was more of like a mini series on TV.
Yeah.
I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
I remember we like recorded it off of TV. I remember owning it at least briefly as a child, and I never dared watch it. And I've never cared enough to go back and watch it. I hate to say so, but I really enjoyed this one. It's a two-parter, so they haven't finished it. But the first part was I thought it was really good. I didn't find it particularly like terrifying. I just again found it intense and intriguing. So
Yeah. Well, that's cool. Yeah, I've only heard really good things.
yeah, so I recommend that. So those are some frightening. That was air quotes for those listening.
I can hear it in your voice.
Good, yeah. Frightening movies that aren't necessarily frightening, and those noises are my dogs trying to get into this room. I'm not actually being haunted at the moment that I'm aware of.
I wanted to mention, and we'll have just enough time since this episode comes out on the 26th. There's enough time to tell people about Ghost Adventures live episode on Halloween.
Oh, okay.
Zach Bagans, the crazy dude bro who investigates ghosts, bought. It's called a Dybbuk box, and it's the Dybbuk is Yiddish for a malicious spirit. So the story goes that there's a malicious spirit trapped inside the box. You don't open the box because you'll let the evil spirit out. And this one that he bought is reported to be one of the most haunted objects in the world. He paid, I don't know how many tens of thousands of dollars for it. But he's going to open it on Halloween, live on TV.
So that could either be really kind of cool or like a huge letdown. Like that time Geraldo Rivera opened that vault that was supposed to belong to Al Capone, and there was like a barrel of nothing in it.
That was another Halloween special. Like, check out this barrel. Blah.
This is gonna be so exciting. Oh, this is hugely disappointing. Well, now we have to fill like 45 minutes of airtime with nothing.
It's all about the build up, right? It was 45 minutes of build up, and then 1 minute of there's a barrel.
Right. Yeah. So
So anyway,
I'm sure that's what they'll do.
I,
Well, that potentially could be really awesome.
yeah, I belong to the Ghost Adventures Facebook group, and all these people have been posting on there like, "No, Zach, don't do it, don't do it. You're gonna get killed. It's too scary. Don't do it." And other people are like, "It's gonna be awesome. Do it. As long as you're not doing it at my house." And other people are like, "It's just a box. He's gonna open it, and it's gonna be like full of empty space." So.
I belong to that category.
I have some belief in the paranormal. I don't know. I try and nurture a healthy skepticism, but sometimes I'm just like, that's creepy.
I do have that side of me, but stuff like that I tend to be like, it's a box.
Yeah.
You're gonna open a box live on television. But I could be wrong. So, and I know you wanted to mention this one, and I'm curious if this is going to start a debate, because I know people who adamantly believe this is not a Halloween show. But, so, The Nightmare Before Christmas.
The debate rages on. Some people say it's a Christmas movie. Some people say it's a Halloween movie. I'd say whatever suits your fancy, because both holidays definitely exist within the show. I'm going to lean more towards a Halloween movie, personally.
Yeah, I would agree with you there.
And I had never seen it until this year. I enjoyed the music. It's Danny Elfman, is that right?
Yeah, it's Danny Elfman.
Yeah.
I love Danny Elfman in general.
Yeah, he's done a lot of stuff.
I don't know if people listening know this, but he was the lead singer for Oingo Boingo.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So next time you're listening to Dead Man's Party, you can just think, this turned into The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I'm going to kill my dog. Sorry. The Dead Man's Party, that's a really good spooky song. It's like one of the only actual Halloween songs, or Halloween appropriate songs, that I know.
Yeah, it really is. And that was Danny Elfman.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
For some reason, I know too much about Danny Elfman.
Yeah, here's something you might not know. He wrote the theme song to Desperate Housewives.
That I did not know.
I don't know why I know that.
I don't know why you know that either.
I think it's like a dad thing, although I've been this way my entire life. I just have all of this trivia in my head that means nothing to no one.
I have that too. Like the fact that I knew that he wrote Dead Man's Party and was in Oingo Boingo. And I also know he's the father to Jenna Elfman from what was that show? Dharma and Greg?
Oh, okay. That's his daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Talented family.
Anyway. Yeah. So, Danny Elfman.
Yeah, Danny Elfman. And then see, you had one more, didn't you?
Did I? Oh yeah. I completely spaced that. I was just gonna mention, just because I'm absolutely in love with this man, but the new Fright Night, being within the last decade.
Yeah, new as in not the original Fright Night, which was from a while, like a long while ago.
Right, but because it has David Tennant in it. I should clarify which man it is that I'm in love with, because it's not Colin Farrell.
I don't know why not.
Why I'm not in love with him?
Yeah.
He's fine. I have nothing against him.
He's a very handsome man.
He is a very handsome man. I really like Anton Yelchin, who's also in it, although he's not alive anymore.
Yeah, we can at least celebrate his good work.
Yeah, makes me all sad.
That one does bum me out. That was a hard one. That was
a really hard one.
Yeah, Fright Night. The first time I saw it, I was like, at the beginning, I was like, I don't know. I'm not really big into vampires, and vampires were all the rage when that movie came out.
Right.
And I was like, I don't know how I feel about it, but I ended up really loving it. I thought it was really well done all the way through.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just it was fun. The entire movie was fun.
Yeah.
The cast was great.
Yeah,
Everyone in that movie did a great job.
yeah, they did.
So,
And David Tennant's character is kind of like a David Blaine slash shoot, what's that other magician who wears too much eye makeup?
oh,
Who's on TV?
yeah,
The Mind Freak guy.
Chris Angel?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah, he's like a
Okay.
Chris Angel kind of a character.
Yeah. So, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's good. Check it out. I think it's on Amazon right now. Is that right?
I am not sure. I'd have to look. Oh, you know, and speaking of, we didn't have this on our little list that we compiled, but another great show if you're into scary, funny, and extremely gory, but Ash versus the Evil Dead. If you ever watched any of the Evil Dead movies and like Army of Darkness with Bruce Campbell, oh, that show is funny. It's super gory
I
and
love
messed up.
Bruce Campbell.
I love Bruce Campbell too. I've only watched a handful of the episodes, but it's that same messed up, over the top gory
Yeah,
humor that those shows had,
yeah.
and Bruce Campbell. So if that's what you're into, that's great. But definitely not for children and not for people who don't like, I don't know, heads exploding, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Well, how about we take a quick sponsor break?
yeah, we should do that because we totally have a sponsor this episode.
Do you
So-
do you remember who our sponsor is, or do you need a minute?
Oh no, I totally remember who our sponsor.
Okay, take it away.
So, this week's episode is brought to you by Halloween, a cheap excuse for Devin to buy way too much candy and then have no one visit his house and just eat it all by himself.
This this episode is also brought to you by diabetes.
I don't have that.
I do.
I don't have that yet. I will after
After Halloween.
Halloween.
Type 2, we should specify. I think all
Yeah.
the type 1ers get a bad rap because the type 2s basically ate themselves into diabetes, and type 1s didn't have a choice.
Right. Yeah. Sorry. You know, we've come full circle. We started off talking about Wilford Brimley and
And right back to him, all roads lead to Wilford Brimley. I think that's the saying.
whoa.
Especially on Halloween. I also wanted to talk about our Patreon just a little bit. We just launched our Patreon, and we're adding new content all the time, especially tonight. So by the time you hear this, there should be some good stuff there. We're going to be recording tonight, after this episode, our very first bonus episode of our bonus show, Nerds from Nowhere, After Dark. You can't hear the sexy face I'm making, but it looks real hot.
It doesn't.
That's what
But
you
he
think.
is trying.
Oh yeah. Anyway, I don't want to, you'll actually, if you subscribe to the Patreon, you'll be able to see that sexy face, because we're going to put all of our recorded episodes up for your viewing pleasure, and pretty much unedited, just completely raw. So you get to see all the fun behind the scenes stuff. You get to hear our dogs attack each other and cats. It's a madhouse.
Yeah. Yeah, so everything will be unedited and unfiltered. And yeah, our bonus episodes will be slightly more unfiltered than we usually do here. I don't think we'll be extremely crude or anything, but we'll...
No, just a little bit more, a little bit more free to be ourselves. Not that we're terrible. I mean, we're terrible,
Yeah.
but we're not that terrible.
Yeah, we're awful human beings, but that has less to do about the way we speak or anything. We just, well, I know I'm an awful human being. So,
We're two peas in a terrible, terrible pod.
I like the way that you put that.
So yeah, so check it out if you like what we do, or you like us, or you just have a kind soul. You can hop on there and support what we do. We'll try and keep. I think we're gonna do 2 bonus episodes a month. So just keep track of those, and you can always go back and rewatch your favorite episodes on video.
Yeah, and there's other exciting things that you can get: email addresses, T-shirts,
Yes.
etc. So check it out if you're at all interested. I hiccuped or burped or something there. Sorry.
It's okay. I didn't hear anything. No one did.
It didn't make a noise, but I paused.
Oh. You want to talk about our current addictions?
I really do. I love to talk about addictions.
What is your current addiction?
So I started playing with our friend Ducky from high school.
Oh yeah.
I'm the only one that calls her Ducky. The only person in the universe that calls her Ducky. But you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The other day she invited me to play Diablo 3 with her, and I don't know why, but I got really addicted to it.
It's so.
Which is weird because like I haven't been addicted to it like at all. Like I played it with you, and I've been like, this is fun.
Mm-hmm.
But after we got done playing, I kept playing it by myself, and I was like, this is so much fun.
Were you guys playing in adventure mode?
We were playing. So I guess they've added this since the last time I played it, and I don't know how long it's been since I've played it. So it's probably been a while. But like seasonal characters.
Oh yeah, I've played in a couple of seasons. It's so much fun.
So well, we were playing just as a season, so we started over. I played as a demon hunter character, which was fun. And then after that, I bought the expansion with the necromancer pack. And I started playing by myself as a necromancer, and oh my gosh, was that so much fun!
The necromancer is so cheating, but it's so much fun.
Right? Yeah, I kept feeling that way. I just, anything that even came close to me just immediately died.
It's great. One of my all-time favorite games, and it's so much fun to pick up and play with your friends.
Yeah. So we'll have to do that if we're not too busy playing our future excitement. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, so what about you, Joe? What's your current addiction?
My current addiction, Daredevil season 3.
Ooh, I haven't watched that yet.
We're 8 episodes in, and I am loving it.
It is next on my list, literally. I've been watching The Man in the High Castle, and I think I have 1 episode left, and then I was going to start Daredevil. So,
Without giving too much away, there's an old bad guy and a brand new one.
ooh, I'm excited. I'm curious who the old bad guy is.
Yeah. If you've seen any of the ads, you probably know, but still, it's really, really good. Really good.
I haven't watched the trailers or anything.
I mean,
which is weird for me.
I know you might have some downtime in the near future. I highly recommend Daredevil season 3.
Oh, it's going to be watched. It's going to be watched.
I thought for our second topic, we would just talk about scary or spooky things that have happened to us or people we know, since we don't get out much.
What are you talking about? I never leave my house.
Ooh, I don't get out much.
Spooky.
Hello.
Some people would be terrified by the prospect of never leaving their home.
That's true. And some of us are terrified by the aspect of leaving.
Yeah, I hate the idea of leaving my house. Oh. All right. Who should start this off?
I will start by telling a story that my wife told me. Ooh. It was a very late night. She was driving with her father up in Ogden, and there's that, I think it's like 20th or 21st, I think. There's like you go up a hill, And there's a cemetery on that street right there.
Okay.
And her dad slammed on his brakes because he saw something, and they just saw a pair of legs run across the road.
Seriously.
Yeah, there was no. It like kind of faded up, and there was no torso. There's just a pair of legs just running across the street.
That's normal. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's scary as Frank.
Were the legs named Frank?
Probably. I mean, they could have been named anything. That's why it's so scary. True.
That is scary.
That's a 100% true story. That actually happened. So, don't know what it was. Don't know if it was an optical illusion. Don't know if it was a ghost. There's no way of knowing.
That is kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Not gonna lie.
I love it because I eat that stuff up. So when she told me that story, I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard anybody say that I know.
That is pretty creepy. So, my story, and this again, it was my brother, but he, well, you know my brother. The listening audience probably doesn't, but he spends the majority of his life camping because he's just that kind of person.
If you want to see what he looks like, he's the guy on the "Did Somebody Say Tacos" t-shirt.
No, that's a different brother.
Oh, different brother. Oh, this is the other brother. Is this the brother that disappeared for years?
Yeah, that brother. The one
ran
that
into him once?
moved to Mexico.
Yeah. Okay.
Now I think he's a tour guide in Kanab
Okay.
or something.
So this guy. Okay.
I don't even know.
Now I know.
Yeah. Now you know which brother I'm talking about. So he does. He just spends like his entire life camping. At the time, he was working as a hairstylist, which is really weird considering who he is as a person. But I guess he made a decent amount of money. But he would work like 3 days a week, and then he would go camping the rest of the week.
That's the dream.
That's the dream, especially for him. And but so he told me this story. He was off camping somewhere, and he always had his dog with him at the time. And so he was off down in either southern Utah or Arizona area, somewhere where skinwalkers are quite notorious. They talk about them a lot.
So
Now-
for people who don't know, what's a skinwalker?
So skinwalkers are supposed to be like Native American medicine men who can turn into animals, right? Am I saying this correctly, Joe?
I learned about them from you, so it sounds
Okay.
perfectly accurate to me.
Okay. So if somebody knows and I'm wrong, that's the best of my knowledge. I can't say that I know super well. But anyway, so he's off in the middle of nowhere by himself with just his dog. And he really does. He likes to go out in like the desert and just find some like BLM, which is the Bureau of Land Management. So like really just like desolate areas where you can kind of camp wherever you want and set up a camp somewhere. So when I say camping, I'm not talking like a KOA campsite or something. He's off in the middle of nowhere. So he says he's out there and his dog starts like freaking out. And he's trying to calm her down. And then like he goes over and he bends down to like pick her up. And he stands up and he says, and it's not very far away, like 10 or 15 feet away, but it is dark. But he says there's this old gentleman with like white hair and glasses. So close enough that he remembers glasses. And he said he was like really surprised. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. Like, is she disturbing you? Do you have a camp around here? And he bent down to like again to like calm her down. And when he stood up, there was nobody there. So he grabbed his flashlight and started trying to get around. And there was a gray fox or wolf like running away, like right where that guy had been. And he said, and he's not one to freak out, but he said he packed up his camp and drove away because he was freaking out.
Ooh, I like that story.
Yeah, I thought that was a pretty good one.
We should have a semi-regular segment that's like spooky stories from people we know.
Because we don't leave the house.
We might exhaust all of our stories by the end of this episode, though.
Yeah, probably.
Now,
That's probably the creepiest one I've ever heard.
this is that is just super creepy. I mean, I think that's scarier than the legs thing. And the legs thing, I think if I was there, I probably would have had a heart attack.
Yeah, I would have too.
But you have some experiences with a little bit different spooky source, aliens.
Yeah. So I was abducted, and that was a prostate exam. Never mind.
It's exactly the same thing.
It is. It really is. No. Yeah. So when I was, oh gosh, I don't even remember how old. Probably like 7 or so. I was sleeping out on the trampoline with my friend. I don't know if you did that when you were a kid.
Oh yeah,
Joe.
for sure,
You ever-
all the time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Love to sleep out on the trampoline. It's almost like camping. And you and I, we both lived out in the middle of nowhere, so you could see the night sky really easily.
Yeah,
Lots of stars,
really
and all
pretty.
that. So I remember I woke up and just looking up at the sky, and I remember seeing this. I would have said it was an airplane, but it didn't quite fit. But it was 3 red, and I remember they were red. I don't know why I remember that detail, but 3 lights in a triangle, just kind of flying above head. And I was kind of watching them, and they weren't close. Like, they were pretty high up. And so they were flying, and then they just did like a 90-degree turn just instantly, and just went the other direction. And I was like, what the? And my friend who was sleeping on the trampoline with me, he's like, did you just see that? I was like, dude, you're awake. Because I thought he was asleep. So I totally thought I was going crazy, but he saw it too, which is the only reason I think that story is pretty cool, because we both saw it.
It was definitely aliens.
Definitely aliens.
Yep.
It was definitely something that I can't explain, because airplanes do not move like that.
Yeah.
They don't make 90-degree turns instantly.
See, it's funny that as you were telling that story, I remembered something from my childhood. Again, we were hanging out on the trampoline. Maybe trampolines attract aliens. I don't know. But
I think they
it was me and a few of my friends, and this was when I still lived in El Paso, so you couldn't see the stars really. But it was a semi-cloudy day, or cloudy night anyway, and I remember looking up, kind of like towards the horizon, but up in the sky, and just below the cloud level, I saw it was a shining, bright circle. And it had 4 smaller shining circles inside of it. The whole thing was illuminated, and it made kind of like a swooping motion, and then just disappeared. Don't know what it.
Really?
It was too slow to be a shooting star, and it was below the cloud level because there was clouds up above it. So it wouldn't have been a shooting star. I don't know what it was.
That's pretty cool.
Like, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was aliens.
Right? Yeah, that's how I feel about mine.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it was aliens, but it was
It
totally
was
aliens.
definitely aliens.
Yeah. Definitely. But I'm not saying it was.
I mean, I'm not insane, but
Yeah.
it was aliens.
And that's why I'm wearing this tinfoil hat right now.
You can't let the aliens inside.
Right.
At least not any more than they've already been.
That's different.
Well, before we go, why don't we talk about our future excitement?
I would love to talk about our future excitement. Who's going to start this off? Because I'm pretty sure our future excitement is the same thing.
I will do it. That way it seems like you're copying me.
Dang it.
My future excitement is Red Dead Redemption 2, which I believe will come out the same time as this episode.
Ooh, I've never heard of this.
And yet you have it pre-ordered.
Yes, yes, I do. Yeah, my future excitement is Red Dead Redemption 2, which I just pre-ordered like 2 days ago.
I was reading an article about it recently. It has over 500,000 lines of recorded dialogue.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Dang.
It's like it's going to be the biggest game ever. I'm super excited for it.
I loved Red Dead Redemption. I love everything that Rockstar Games does, honestly.
They just put so much effort into detail. It's crazy.
Yeah. I was reading an article, not necessarily about that game, but just Rockstar in general. But Grand Theft Auto 5 is still one of the best-selling games to this day.
That is just crazy because that game's been out for like 8 years,
Ever.
right?
Yeah.
I gotta ask Google.
But
It officially released in 2013. So
Man.
it's been a game for 5 years.
yeah. But yeah, it still sells more copies than a lot of games on a regular basis.
That's so crazy. Well, but there's good reason. I mean, the online play is still super popular, and I think they make probably more money off of their online stuff than they do game sales.
Yeah, probably. And it is fun.
Yeah.
That was my dog again. I do play that online game, and it really is enjoyable.
Yeah, it's just so immersive and such a good story. They do a really good job.
Yeah. So I'm really excited for Red Dead Redemption 2 because the first Red Dead Redemption was so much fun, and I'm sure they're going to make it very similar but different
Yeah,
enough
yeah,
that you can just and I'm excited to play with you.
yeah.
Play the game with you.
That too. I maybe we can do some streaming sometime this weekend or next.
Oh, that would be so much fun. I'd love to do that.
Well, it's that time again. We've reached the end of the episode. I mean, the end of the episode. If you want to reach us and give us any comments or suggestions for topics, you can reach us on Facebook at fb.me/nerdsfromnowhere, on Twitter at nowherenerds, or by email at thenerds@nerdsfromnowhere.com. Thanks for listening and for watching.
Bye.